Hello, welcome to my video. Today's video is going to be about bonsai and bonsai cuttings, and I will be working on some trees that I've generated from cuttings from other bonsai trees that I have. I'll be going to my process in getting that started, and I will also try to develop some of my cuttings into more robust projects. So I'll be showing you some of the stuff I'll be working on today at first, and then I'll get on through the process as I work on getting some of the cuttings into bigger pots or different projects. So here we go. So I have most of them in this handy dandy bucket. I'm gonna move this to the side, and it's pretty heavy. I have a lot of them in little pots like these. I'm going to put this back down, and then I'll be going over some other steps I do. So all the plants I'll be talking about today were generated through the process of cutting. So at any time that you find that there is some trimming that needs to be done on the plant, you will simply cut the branch that you no longer need, and then you can grab a smaller pot with some dirt in it. You stick just the cutting into it from the main plant, and if it wishes to and it's at the right environment, it will eventually generate roots. So this one right here, it's full of roots, and it's just a plant that I cut off a bigger plant. I'm going to go ahead and do two drawings on my sketchpad, one of a plant developed from a seed and one of a plant developed from a branch cutting. I'm doing this to kind of go over what the differences between the root systems of both plants would be. A plant being grown from a seed normally generates a long main root with smaller roots growing from it, and this helps the plant to be stable and stay upright in the ground. But when we develop a plant from a cutting, we get a different root system, which is usually beneficial for a bonsai because we do want for a tree to be planted on a pot. Usually the shallower the pot, the better it looks. So the roots will actually grow from where the branch was cut. This gives us a nice flat bottom that can be placed in a pot a lot more easier. A regular plant will have to have the roots cut off, which is usually not what you want to do with a plant. So here comes the time for the fun stuff. I'm going to go through most of my cuttings, and the ones that are a little bit root bound or that you would say have filled the pot with roots, I'm going through with my little rake and some other tools and getting most of the dirt out. Now, I only recommend doing this with plants that are able to be treated this way. There's a lot of plants that would generally die if you go through the trouble of removing most of the dirt from its roots, or you mess with the roots too much. Most of these plants are of a type of ficus. I have a couple that are Chinese elms, and they do pretty okay with the roots being messed around with. I'm going to go ahead and cut any really long roots like we see right here. This will allow for the root system to grow more evenly, just like you would do with the branches. If you have some really long branches like this plant right here, you'll want to cut them back because we want the plant to grow more evenly and not just have a couple of crazy branches. The same goes with the roots. We don't want some crazy roots growing all over the place. That will limit how the plant can be developed in the future. This planting right here is made with a group of cuttings I made using cuttings from an airleaf ficus that I have, and they're all planted together, and I'm not too happy with the way that they are individually developing. It feels like some of them are doing a lot better than others, so I'm going to go through the process of removing them individually, separately. And what I noticed with this is some of them have developed a really nice root spread, while others are lacking a little bit behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and separate those and plant them separately. Here we can see a little bit of a difference, how the one on the left, how small it is versus the one on the right, and they were coming from very similar branches, so obviously some of the plants were doing a lot better than others, so I want to address that by separating them all. Here's a bigger plant I had as a cutting for a lot longer, and as we see, the roots are a lot more dense. And again, I'm going to cut this one back and cut some of the roots back as well. Now I've gone through all the cuttings I had up here that I felt needed to be repotted, and you find some interesting things. Like sometimes you find plants like this one where it has a very limited amount of roots, but it's spreading heavily on the bottom. And then sometimes you find stuff like this, which ends up being just a lot of roots all over the place. This was very interesting. Again, there's a lot of strong roots, and it shows the benefit of using a cutting very well. You can see how flat the bottom is, so when you have a very small or shallow pot, or even something like this can rest directly against the base and still allow the roots to grow and support the plant. So I'm gonna start one by one, getting them in their correct spot. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I got them in all repotted. Now there are a couple missing. If you have a sharp eye from earlier in the video, those are being utilized for different projects that I will be turning into their own separate videos with those cuttings, but these are the ones that were left off. I wanted to end the video by bringing this tree out and showing off something that can be done with tree cuttings. I created this root over rock by the same technique. Since it had a flat bottom, it was really easy to get it to work very well with this planting. I'm going to show you the back so you see all the roots. And I've been working on this cutting for about 4 years now. I think it's been 2 since it's been on the rock, so it's doing really well. And just want to show you guys what a future of what we started today could look like. Thank you guys very much. Have a good day. Bye. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like it, leave a comment below, and for more art related videos, go to my channel and subscribe.